I'd like to show you guys some of the updates that we have made to the T3 app, which allows you to jump straight into texts that are too difficult for you because you get everything translated for you. I'm going to take a text from this series called Top Thema from the Deutsche Welle, which it says is a B1 level, but I sometimes feel like it's a borderline B1, B2 level. And it's definitely going to be more difficult if you are still a relative beginner in German. So I'm going to just jump straight into a text that I've already chosen. And this text is called Deutsche fühlen sich immer einsamer, which is translated into English. Germans feel more and more lonely, or Germans are feeling more and more lonely, are suffering from loneliness. And so what we're going to do is we're going to copy out the text here, and we're going to click here on import text in the T3 app, t3.linguathor.com. We're going to copy it in here, paste it in there rather. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to paste it as the title. If I hover over anything that's in German in the app, then I can see the English translation. That's on purpose. We want to expose you guys to as much of the L2, the foreign language, as possible. And here I can actually, if I have the Pro version of T3, I can choose from a wide range of different voices, both male and female there, as well as different accents, both standard German, or rather standard German, Austrian, and Swiss German. So I'm just going to leave it at this and say import. And it is going to take up to 2 minutes. It usually takes less than that. It usually takes about 30 seconds. And the reason why is that it's sending requests to the translation API, the AI, to get the translations of this text. So the very first thing I'm going to get here is a translation into English of this text. As you can see, Germans are feeling lonelier and lonelier. I can also scroll over the title here to get a translation. Germans feel increasingly lonely. Obviously, these are two different translations, correct translations of the German. So here, during this phase, which we call L1 reading, I can actually read through in my native language and get a feeling for what this text is about. So it has translated all of the sentences in this article. And apparently it's altogether only 20 sentences. So it's actually relatively short. Okay, so I can click through this just to ensure that I have read everything. I know what I'm getting myself into, so to speak. Then I'm going to go to the next stage, which is where I can, if I wish, I can listen to the German while still paying attention to the meaning in my native language.
Deutsche fühlen sich immer einsamer.
Okay, so I can click through those and do those if I like. And this is where the real magic starts to happen. This is the third step, which we call dual reading. Why? Because you have translations at two different levels, namely at the sentence level and at the word level. That means that I can understand not only what this sentence means, Germans are feeling lonelier and lonelier, but I can also understand the individual meanings of the words in German. So notice that in English, we say are feeling lonelier and lonelier, but in German, you literally say Germans feel themselves, in this particular context, always lonelier. So that's how you express lonelier and lonelier. We say immer plus the verb, the comparative form of the verb, right? So more and more beautiful would be immer schöner. Schön is the base form of the adjective, immer schöner, more and more beautiful, right? It's actually easier if you think about it than English, depending on the adjective, of course. Okay, so then I can actually go through, I can listen to this.
Deutsche fühlen sich immer einsamer.
And of course, for more complicated sentences, this literal translation is great because I truly understand how I think when I speak or write in German, right? So here I can add this as well.
Wie finde ich Freunde? Täglich stellt jemand diese Frage in den sozialen Netzwerken, denn immer mehr Menschen in Deutschland leiden unter Einsamkeit.
As you can hear, the audio quality is superb. It's really, really good. It more or less sounds like a real person. So it's great for learning. If I want to, I can click on individual words and I can get more information. So I click here on Einsamkeit, for example, and I can generate an AI overview here where it actually gives me bilingual definitions, or an overview. Then I have the meanings, the etymology, where it comes from, and then some example sentences here. But I just like to use this to very quickly jump straight into a text that's beyond my level in the languages that I'm learning. I'm currently learning Polish, and this is amazing because Polish can be quite complicated, and there are many, many different forms of each word. So I don't have to look up all of those words in the dictionary. I just throw the text into T3 and I immediately get translations at both the sentence and the word level. Then after I've gone through this, and I can, of course, what I like to do is listen to the original audio and read through this at the same time so I can associate the foreign language words with the translation in my language. And then I can go to the next step and I can actually test myself and see whether I remember the meanings of the sentences, whether I still understand, right? And I can listen as well, which is nice. I don't have to mess around with the play button in the original audio. And finally, in the last step, I can do what I call active reverse translation, where I'm actually trying to remember the German sentences, but I have the translation of the sentence into my language, and I also have the translation of the words into my language. So this actually helps me to think in German because I actually have the meanings, the literal meanings of the German words in my language. And I can actually adjust this if I want. If I don't want to see any of these hints, I can actually adjust this. So I'll move this out of the way, click save here, and now I no longer see any of those. So now I need to remember them off the top of my head, right? Which is obviously significantly more difficult. At the beginning, I suggest that you do it with either one or two hint letters, and then later you can remove those if you like. The goal is to be able to reproduce these sentences from memory out loud, speaking as fast as possible, right? Now, if you have a lower level, then you don't necessarily need to do this. It can be fun, but I suggest if you have a lower level, you do it with the shorter sentences, and you can try to do parts of the longer sentences. But this will definitely be more difficult at lower levels, but that's okay, because at lower levels, you need to primarily be getting a lot of input, comprehensible input anyway, and T3 is the fastest way to get comprehensible input. Okay, so we've made a lot of improvements. It's a lot faster now. The audio quality is great. You've also got this exercise function here. You can speed up, slow down the audio. You also have this kind of player function here where you can actually queue up the sentences that you'd like to listen to. There's many, many things. So definitely check it out. Thank you for watching, and all the best for Germany, and from Germany. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.